The Mage Tower is finally back, and with it, a new challenge, even for those who completed it back in Legion. Given how it's up for time walking, you and your gear will be scaled down to level 45. What this means is that across the different expansions, the gear will scale differently. All guides I've seen up so far have different advice and different approaches to the Mage Tower. So for this video, I can only offer my advice and opinions in relation to how I beat closing the eye on my Frost Death Knight. I used mainly current Shadowlands gear, what I primarily use for mythic keys, with the exception of the Heart of Azeroth for my neck and Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish for one of my trinkets. I did so just because I happened to have it in my bank and the strength stat on it scaled better than my current trinket. For the Heart of Azeroth, don't worry if you haven't leveled it. I didn't have it before the Mage Tower on my TK, so I simply went back to Borealis and got it, hence it being level 1. Doesn't matter, still works great. Overall, closing the eye has two phases with different priorities. Phase 1, where you fight Xylem, is all about survival, and I took my time in taking him down instead of rushing and hurting myself in the process. Phase 2, where you fight the corrupting shadows, is all about dealing as much damage as possible to get the shadow down before he corrupts the entire platform. Between the two phases, you have 20-ish seconds out of combat. These 20 seconds were crucial to me. Going into the challenge, I had planned 2 sets of gear and different talents to switch between for the phases. This is my gear for phase 1, where I focus on higher versatility and haste. And this is my gear for phase 2, where I focus on higher mastery and crit. Furthermore, I have 3 weapons ready. I recommend the dual wielding build, as it will give you more weapons to rune and it can be crucial in this fight. For the first 2 weapons, I used Rune of the Fallen Crusader and Rune of Unending Thirst for the focus on survivability. As phase 2 begins, I switch the weapon with Rune of Unending Thirst out with a weapon with the Rune of Razor Eyes engraved on it. With the gear out of the way, this is my talent setup for the fight. First phase, I went for the 3-1-1-1-2-1-2 setup. Breath of Sindragosa deals more damage, but I relied heavily on the Rhyme proc and Killing Machine to take down the Razor Eyes, and given all the movement it just wasn't worth the breath, which is why I went for Obliteration. The Death's Reach talent is such a huge benefit when Xylem teleports far away. Every second counts when you want to survive that first phase. For the second phase, I changed to a setup of 3-1-3-1-2-1-3. The Blinding Sleet is super useful to stop and slow the darkness within ads from Seed of Darkness, and Breath of Sindragosa is vital to take down corrupting shadows when you need all the damage you can get as fast as possible. Lastly, for consumables, I ended up with a mix of current and past items. I used Shadowlands sharpening stones for my weapons, making sure all 3 were sharpened before the fight. For armor, I used heavy armor kits, once again on both chest pieces before the fight. I used veiled augment runes, Shadowlands runes, before every fight. For food, I used the iridescent ravioli with applesauce for a mastery buff, again before every fight. Make sure you have some for the break between the phases if you need to regain health. I used Shadowlands healing potions and the BFA flask, Greater Flask of the Undertow, which increases your strength stat, which is the main focus for damage increase. I made some drums of the mountain, which are Legion drums, to use at the very start of the last phase for a haste boost. And finally, I had a few Tome of the Still Mind on hand to change my talents between the 2 phases. Before I let you watch the fight, I have 2 core takeaways from my experience. Death Strike is your best friend in the first phase. Make sure to have enough Runic Power for it all the time. Don't panic in the second phase when it seems like you won't have enough space to take down the corrupting shadows. You have more time than you think. And save your anti-magic shield if you need 3 extra seconds in the end. With all the tips out of the way, here's my fight and defeat of Xylem in the Frost Decay Time Walking Mage Tower challenge, closing the eye.
With the focusing iris under my control, I can siphon the arcane energy from Azeroth's ley lines directly into my magnificent self. Drained of magic, your world will be ripe for destruction by my demon masters, and my power will be limitless. Eat magic, imposter! This is not right. The shadow will not control me. I must project this power back through the iris.
You cannot defy the will of the Legion, Archmage. All will perish!
Hold them off, champion, for the sake of Azeroth.